on it once
I think we've
again.
done it. I think we've
Yeah.
done it, my friend.
Okay,
Move
this is
sleigh. This was
this is
way easier.
but bomb. Yeah, much easier on a laptop. So I hope that my colleagues here in the McDonald's don't mind that we're live, but I am here in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, because you see, to get from one location in New York State to another location in New York State, you have to go through two other states. Go
God,
figure that. But it's very much like the cannabis laws. So anyway, I'm Paula Collins. I am a cannabis tax lawyer, and I am very pleased to be here with Nikki, not Nikki Haley, who will apparently run for president, but the other Nikki who will run for Queen of Cannabis.
very cool, very cool. Jeffrey Hoffman likes to call me the. Oh, look, we are live. I think it's working, friend.
I think, and
Yeah,
we have a chat.
baby.
We're
Look at
seeing people.
we're seeing
Yeah,
people. We're seeing chat. Wow, I'm so excited when technology works. Last
yeah.
week was a complete CF.
I
So
think it's the big light bulb above my head.
it might be. It might be. I think you're streaming in like beam me up, Scotty. And it's
Yeah.
really good that you have your headphones on, Paula. You know why? Because McDonald's does not need to hear my foul mouth.
Oh
So
well. Well, there are no children.
there are
Although
children.
there's no, there are no children, but I do see a Frosty the Snowman.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Hello,
Yeah,
Frosty.
yeah, your cursing might cause poor Frosty to melt. So what is
Hello,
happening?
everyone that's joining in. I'm just waiting a couple minutes to just make sure everyone knows it's 8 o'clock. And can I say, in Western New York, we are rather thrilled, although it was a very scary Bills game, friends. OMFG. Talk about taking it down to the last minute. The Buffalo Bills did win. So if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, rah, rah. Now we're in place trial, uh, three place, what is it, tie for the wild card or something of that nature.
I
Um,
don't quite know what all of that means. So
It's all cool, Paula. Anyone who's watching that's from Western New York, we're die-hard Bills fans. So it's pretty rare that if you're a Buffalo person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's okay. You know, it's part of the city thing. Maybe you aren't into the Jets and your teams and your Giants, but we're really balls out with our Bills.
okay, okay, so well, and we are, by the way, the WNY rapport, and so this is all part of building rapport from the rest of the state to Western New York. So we
Exactly.
have to all understand Bill's culture.
We do. You got to
Yeah.
like say go Bills, like go Bills because at the end of the day, we get a lot of snow and we don't always get a lot of good football here sometimes. I mean, we love our Bills even when they lose, but we really like it when they win. Hello, everyone that's joining us. We're so happy to. This week is a much more tech friendly experience. Nikki losing her laptop, not losing it, but apparently I had water damage, and $700 later, she is back in operation. So we now have this wonderful Western New York report to come to you live. Hey,
You know what?
Aaron, I can actually see some people.
I can't tell if we're all live on Facebook or if it's just me. I really can't tell. But
It
so
might just be you, so it's all good, And
no,
guess what? We're
we're
trying hard.
trying. We're trying. I'm going to
Got to
tell
give us an A
people
for effort.
if you're
Hey,
on if you're on Facebook, go find us on LinkedIn, and I'm going to log off of this Facebook. Okay. All right. So there. Go find us on LinkedIn. So I think it's been a really super exciting week in New York cannabis. So let's get rolling. I went to, now not in the western part of the state, unfortunately, but I do plan to be in the western part of the state in January.
go
And that is
January.
when that that is when I will be joining my colleague Nikki Lawley to go live
Going
from
live.
Niagara. Why don't you tell us all about the event?
So, Niagara Community College, go Melissa Moore. And all of her stuff is going on. We are going to rock socks in Niagara this year on January
Next
8th
year,
and 9th. Oh, shit. Yeah, next year.
2024.
Yeah, January 8th and 9th in January 2024. We are going to be live with the Western New York Report, but because of this amazing event that Melissa Moore and Niagara Community College put together, we are super pumped to be there. I'm actually speaking, believe it or not. Oh, boom, boom, slay, on the 9th,
Boom.
talking about the patient experience and why it matters and why industry leaders need to take notice of patients. That's what the topic is going to be. So,
And who is sponsoring the event?
Niagara Community College is sponsoring it predominantly, but then, of course, there
Okay.
are some said sponsors, and I don't have that said sponsor list, but I do know our friends at Dent Neurology will be there as well. Um,
Well, I wonder, I mean, you and I talked, full disclosure to our listening audience. We talk to kind of plan. Believe it or not, we do have a plan when we do our lives. But what I found really interesting about what you were saying, Nikki, was about how different people absorb the medicine into their stream, into their bloodstream, into their bodies. So I wonder if you could talk about that.
Oh, it's such a touchy little subject. Hi, Tom Ballestera. You're the best. Hi, KD. Hi, Frank Falvo. Hello, Mr. Christopher Levinson. And that's all I can see. And if there's other people on there, it's just the stupid restream thing. So, what Paula is referring to is I must smoke my medicine. That's right, friends. I smoke cannabis joints that do come from the medical cannabis dispensary here in Western New York. Uh, it's also available, of course, in the recreational dispensary. I smoke my medicine because I lack what's known as a special gene in our body for digestive systems. It's called the cytochrome P250 gene that basically I don't metabolize certain drugs or certain substances in my stomach and through my liver the same way other people do. So therefore, I have to smoke my medicine. And this is often poo pooed by physicians because they don't understand this, which I'm a nurse and I don't know how I can understand it and they can't, but that's okay. We
They didn't
all
have
have
that
fun with it.
class in med school. They probably didn't.
Well, they didn't teach the cannabis class, but they did teach the cytochrome class. So, in full disclosure, I really wish they'd really get a little more savvy on that because we all don't have the same endocannabinoid system, nor digestive system, nor body. So, I think it's important that we don't need to gaslight patients for their choice of consumption because cannabis is medicinal for many people and they have to consume it differently. People that have had weight loss surgery, people that lack a gallbladder, these are all conditions that potentially make you not be able to absorb cannabis correctly. And we share this only because people can take hundreds of milligrams of gummies and not feel anything. And then other people take 2.5 milligrams of gummies and they're like on their butt. So we just need to have a real compassion and understanding because that's what this is. It's medicine and it's compassionate care. So at the end of the day, um, I just want people to know that I do smoke my medicine and we need to not attack patients for the way they consume.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, I have so many questions. And
Okay.
I think this is why we need events like this because we're educating people. You're educating people. You're about to educate me because I'm going to ask you some questions.
Very
So,
good.
first of all, how would somebody discover that they lack this? Is it cytochrome?
Correct.
How would
Um,
they?
you would basically notice it because everyone else is eating 10 milligrams of gummies or whatever, and they're on their butt and having a good time, and you're still like, I feel nothing. What's going on?
Okay.
That's one thing, but there's so many other indications. I've had gene testing genetic testing, as well as like there's all kinds of cannabis testing that you can do for your body. They actually take your 23andMe or your ancestry.com DNA, and they can actually find those genes that lack that. So that's one way, and besides personal experience, because I couldn't understand this. When I had
Okay.
this physician share with me that, oh, a tincture will work just fine. No, it won't, because that's what is considered first pass digestion. So digestion starts in our mouth and then goes on down the highway of our stomach, of our intestines, and then on down through things. So understanding that is the first phase. And when I discovered that there was an actual condition as to why I didn't feel this, I was blown away. Right? I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense now. It was literally a boom moment. I totally feel that. I mean, it was
Okay.
explosive. So, um, just understanding that basic premise was a big thing. But it took a lot of trial and error for me to really realize that, because I didn't get it. I didn't understand that factor.
Well, it's interesting because there are people who will understand that different people absorb alcohol at different rates, or some people say they can never get intoxicated off of beer, but they can off of red wine. Other people get a red wine headache. Some people can only feel happy on hard liquor. So it's funny that we don't have that same sort of acceptance. So my question that I'm getting to is, do you find that when you talk to regular people, not medical people, but regular people in the cannabis space, that you get some, oh, aha, or do
Oh,
people kind
absolutely.
of turn away from it?
No, they totally embrace it. They totally get that, because
Okay.
anyone who's been in the industry for a long time really understands that, like from personal experience. When a lot of these physicians who are taking care of us are not aware because they don't consume cannabis themselves. Not that
Uh-huh.
that means a whole lot, but it really does at the end of the day. Because when you don't consume it, you don't really understand its effects. It's sort of like police, like a cop that's never smoked cannabis doesn't understand how someone can still be functioning after smoking cannabis that is a chronic or regular user of cannabis, because in their mind, they've been programmed that the war on drugs, you're just high, you're a loser, you're going to fall asleep at the wheel, you're not going to be able to function, your coordination's going to be all off. And it's just not the case. With cannabis, for me, it makes me normal. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it really does. It levels me out. It
Does
gives
it make
me
you
balance,
connect connect your dots?
connecting my
Connect the
dots,
dots. Yeah.
always
Um,
connecting the dots.
okay, so now my next question is, when you mention this cytochrome gene issue to a physician, are they generally receptive to it?
No,
No.
no. They just view it, I mean, literally in my medical chart by some unsaid doctors, it's documented that I'm a drug seeker and that I smoke my cannabis. And because I smoke my cannabis, and this was before we had whole flower or anything like that in the medical program, they said, um, they literally said, if you smoke it, it's not medicinal. And that is so warped and wrong. And I don't want to say it, and I don't want to physician shame, but it's really wrong. It's wrong to
Okay.
give people that impression.
So speaking of physicians, Dr. Ruth Fisher, PhD physician, or PhD, I should say, is saying most medications only come in one form. Doctors are accustomed to prescribing just, say, pills to everyone. So,
Correct. So they're used to pills. They're used to tinctures or liquid medicine. You know, they don't
uh-huh.
they don't get it, right? And um yeah, it's a thing and it's a problem. So I'm here to educate everyone, including the physicians that aren't informed, and trying to normalize that conversation and remove the stigma. Am I saying everyone should go smoke a joint? Absolutely not. If you can, use alternative means, 100% do that. Do what works for you. But I am in no way, shape, or form wanting those who do smoke their medicine to feel like they're bad people and they're doing things wrong.
Well, speaking of the different forms of cannabis, or the way that we can absorb our medicine or our cannabis or our recreation, um, I had the distinct honor this weekend of attending an opening for our client, Capital District Cannabis and Wellness on Central Ave in Albany.
Go,
And
go, Albany
and
Cannabis.
they've got this, I mean, the build out is beautiful. They've got a fantastic mural that it says unifying Albany. And it
Nice.
was really, really a beautiful, beautiful event. And so
Wasn't that a Dasney store? Didn't Dasney build that out?
Dasney built it out. Yeah. Um,
Excellent, excellent. And
and
I think
they've
Khalil McGraw was there. McGrew.
to, it's funny that Ty was there because I did not see him. I was there, but I got to say the room was jam packed. And here's what I loved about it. It I got goosebumps looking at the room because
Oh,
people of all skin tones were there, you know.
beautiful,
Um, Full
beautiful.
disclosure, my mom was kind of dark skinned. She was from the Philippines. I grew up in the deep south, and there were people who didn't quite understand who or what my mother was as a Filipino. They thought she was what we call mulatto in Louisiana. But but it always warms my heart in Louisiana. Excuse me, I was distracted by the chat. It
I
always
know.
warms my
It's
heart
fun.
in New York to go to events, especially something like cannabis, which historically was kind of a mess racially. And so to go to a room with a licensed cannabis dispensary and see people from literally with every skin tone possible, it was just gorgeous. And where the segue, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but the segue was when you were talking about different ways that people can get their cannabis, they had some of the most wonderful New York products that I hadn't seen yet. And I guess I should say yet. And I gotta say, I go to a lot of different kinds of weed shops in the state, but there they were, different things that I thought were really quite innovative. And for a brand new shop, first day, they had a ton of, as we say in the industry, SKUs, not screws, SKUs, a ton of different products that could be, they each have a SKU that get rung up. So anyway, hats off to James Fries and Pasha Adams for the launch of Capital District Cannabis and Wellness. And we had news from Western New York just while we were logging on. What's happening in Western New York with products?
Yes, our friend Brad Racino made some points that the cannabis, aka Columbia Care, one of our ROs here in the state, is actually selling to Herbal IQ, which is one of our adult use dispensaries here in Buffalo and also Rochester. And they have many cannabis grower showcases out there. So they're actually selling their product now to the Cannabis Grower Showcase. So that means consumers now can buy the medical cannabis products from our adult use dispensaries. So that's rather
So,
interesting.
thoughts, observations, concerns, kudos, what would you say? And I really
This
don't know. I'm
industry,
just posing the
I,
question.
and I'm still processing it all, honestly.
Yeah. It all happened
As
pretty quickly, right?
it did, it was like this week's OCM was just full of knowledge. And I unfortunately, I believe I was in surgery or in recovery or
No,
something
you were in recovery. It was on Friday. I was there.
on Friday.
I gave a public comment.
Oh, see, I was definitely not on it. But yeah, it was I saw the notes and things afterwards. But honestly, I feel that the New York State small farmers need to continue to get a leg up.
Speaking
And
of Western New York, because a lot of our farmers are in Western New York.
there are, they
Mhm.
really, really are. And I feel that we're having a hard enough time getting them on the shelves, and to be able to now have these ROs be part of the now ecosystem that we're creating, it's kind of putting them to the back burner.
Mhm.
And they naturally can be priced cheaper because they're already in existence. They already know what they're doing. They've already been selling to the medical market. So they've got a lot more capacity and a lot more space, and they can just pump out product a lot faster and more efficiently than some of the small guys right now. So,
But I mean, I don't see, maybe I don't buy a lot of products. I don't know. I don't see a lot of price variation in the licensed shops. Am I missing something?
well, in the licensed shops versus the medical shops, there's a big price dispensary
Because of the
discrepancy.
taxes.
Taxes. The
Yeah.
taxes are big. And so
Okay.
especially pop on that potency tax, and people are paying a lot more money for the same product. So I don't know how it's going to work with, say, if I were to go to direct to Columbia Care versus Herbal IQ, I don't know what the price difference would be. And I'm assuming it would be more by buying the product at Herbal IQ, not only because of the taxes, but I think that it's just going to be more pricey. And I don't know because I haven't shopped it, but I can tell you right now from my experience, a zero point 0.3 ml vape in the medical dispensary costs like $30. Buying a zero point 0.3 ml vape at a adult use dispensary costs like $58 with all the taxes. That's a significant difference, and it's more accessible. So, I mean, people are going to do what they're going to do, and we're going to get more people access to cannabis by having adult use stores, which I am fully in support of. But I don't know how it's really going to affect yet. I mean, it's still all so new, and it's still all just rolling out. We're not at a point
Hmm.
where it's all established. So again, the jury's kind of out, but I definitely have concerns about the community and where it's going. And, the ROs are going to have 50% of their shelf space with brands that they don't carry. The small farmers is what I'm told, or what has been said. And so I'm really hoping that is honored and that is part of the plan. I did not understand that the ROs were allowed to sell to the adult use dispensaries. I thought that they were
Hmm.
just selling, that they were just creating their own dispensaries and able to sell their own products in their own dispensaries. So that was kind of news to me when I saw that post from Brad Racino that was shared with me. So again, there's so many questions that we have for New York State that it's just all kind of coming out now.
Well, and I want to bring in some of the comments from the chat. Aaron Van Camp, hello, Aaron, says it won't be on the shelf till the 29th,
Okay,
which is like coming in,
2 weeks.
because that's by law, right? They can't, and so the panic has been they're going to be here before the end of the year. Well, before the end of the year, but not before the 29th. So they've got 3 days in this year, 29th, 30th, 31st. Aaron also says, do you think they'll use the same small farmer they were using at the showcases? Ha 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 ha. I get the joke there. The showcases were supposed to be small farmers.
Oh, right.
Um,
Yeah, right.
um, and then I think this is Tom, LinkedIn user. Under what brand and what SKUs are they selling at IQ?
That I do not know. I mean, I just literally, Brad Racino's post was shared with me today, right before this live came on. So I have not had ample time to investigate that. I would assume it's going to be under the cannabis. but I do not know that for fact. If anyone else,
And Aaron says small farmer means major medical execs farm.
oh, I don't like that.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe it's a small farm. Sorry, that was not a really good joke. Um,
yeah,
I mean, how do you define small farmer? There are so many, even the word distressed farmer, which is written into the statute, they never bothered to define. In my opinion, every New York farmer is a distressed farmer.
correct, correct.
Take care of the farmers every time you eat a vegetable, or if you eat meat, every time you eat meat or eggs, thank a farmer. Cheese, thank a farmer.
Right.
Milk. Um, okay, what else is going on in New York cannabis? I think that we had some interesting news. You said Ty did a great job of summarizing it
He did.
to Lil Magoo.
He did.
Do you have that handy?
I,
I had it.
I did.
Well, maybe I
I
do.
don't.
Hang on. Uh, I think I preserved it.
Boom slay.
Nope. Nope. Let's see. That was not it. Um, it shouldn't be hard. Talk amongst yourselves and I'll find
Sure.
it.
So, Frank made a comment that they can't forget about patient education. And that's kind of the realm I come from, right?
Uh-huh.
Patient education is so important. And, when we have polypharmacy issues and we have Grandma Jones going to a grower showcase, there's no one there that really is able to guide her. Do you know what I mean? Like, if she's got glaucoma, for instance, she shouldn't be given a high CBD product. She should be given a high THC product. But looking at Grandma Jones, immediately that bud tender or that person is most likely going to say, well, I don't want to get her too high because she's going to fall down the stairs. And, I don't want that liability. But at the end of the day, they don't understand how glaucoma works and how eye pressure works. And like, they're not medical professionals, right? So, the basic understanding of certain drug to drug interactions, I think, is a real thing. And adult use dispensaries aren't there to be your doctor, right? They're there to supply your product. And
But nor are medical. I mean, I get so frustrated with the lack of patient education at the medical dispensaries.
through that,
I haven't had a medical card for 2 years. I think I let it lapse. And even when I go to other states, I have a caregiver card for my like a mother but not my mother up in Maine, and I went to a medical dispensary there, which, by the way, in the state of Maine, any physician can be a medical cannabis
recommender.
Recommender, and you get your card right there at the physician's office. And as does the caregiver. And so off we went to the dispensary, and they were very clear, we do not give medical advice. So I think that's a real sensitive point that I hope in the next 3 to 5 years we work that out, because there is a genuine need. I did learn at the OCM meeting. I met someone from OCM whose name escapes me. That's bad. But she will be launching specifically for the elder population education in the new year. And really going into some of the senior centers and going into places where seniors hang out, just to educate, because of this thing of, an elder says, oh, I have arthritis, or I have these aches and pains, or what have you. And because one of the symptoms of being old is you kind of lose your balance. And so if you combine that with a dosing problem, you can have some serious falls or some other issues. And it's frightening. It is frightening to the people around them. It's frightening to the person undergoing it. We did have, I think this is Tom. Has anyone seen the flower from the ROs that they will be selling in the AU market? And if so, any comments on the quality of it? I don't think we've seen it because it can't be sold until the 29th.
Correct.
So unless you are the major medical exec from the small farm that Aaron alluded to, then you haven't seen the flower.
No.
Maybe unless you're a flower child or any of us flower children.
So
I don't think.
I can tell you from the medical perspective, some of the RO flower, not good, just not good.
Mm,
And
mm.
if that's what they're selling, compared to like, okay, no favoritism here. I don't get sponsored by anybody, but let's just talk about House of Saki. Okay. Mike Saki grows some pretty rad bud. And that guy,
Okay.
I mean, I've seen his beautiful flower. I've seen the quality of it. And that quality, I don't see in the medical dispensary. Okay. Full transparency. So some of the product I've seen from an unnamed RO that happens to Brad Racino just happened to point out, their product was scary, like scary. Like I would not. It looked literally like decarboxylated cannabis. It looked like it had been already vaped. It was this gross orange, brown, nasty, just nasty product. And I was like, oh my God, there's no terps to this, like none. Because
And yet you couldn't see it till you paid for it, right?
you can't see it until you pay for it at
Yeah.
all.
See, I don't think any other industry would tolerate that. Do you?
Yeah. And then when I called and complained, they literally pretty much told me, yeah. Okay.
I mean,
know,
even
it
a
was
car,
not.
if you go to buy a car, you get to test drive it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There was no test driving this, and I lost $80. End of story.
Wow, 80 bucks.
That
That's
I couldn't
serious.
even smoke it. I couldn't. I wouldn't recommend anyone smoke it. There were zero terpenes to it. There was, it was dry. It was nasty. It was brittle. And the color looked disgusting. It looked like rust from a pipe. And I mean, how is that considered medicine? Right?
Well, I'm sure it was lab tested.
I'm sure it was, but whose lab?
Back in 2021, it was lab tested.
It's really sad, you know? I mean, bad, bad, bad. But we're not here to talk about bad. We're here to talk about solutions.
Okay, so let me talk about good. So
Let's talk good.
I did find Ty Magoo's post summarizing the OCM meeting that happened on Friday.
Excellent.
He talked about the ROs and the 1229 day, which I think is the day that Housing Works opened last year. Was that 1230?
I think
It's
you
either
might
1229 or
be right.
1230. I remember they were trying to make that end of year
I
deadline.
think it was 29, but I could be wrong.
So let's see. I'll just start at the top. They approved some of the relocations of the AUCCs, especially the drying facilities and some of the RO dispensary locations that had to change or opening a fourth location. Remember, the ROs have to have a certain number. They have to have 4 locations providing medical before they can then open an adult use. So I think
They have 3 of those.
And I think that's important to kind of curb everybody's hysteria. Yes, it is an acceleration of the timeline from what was originally announced, but they do have to have that market commitment and investment in New York to have the 4 functioning medical dispensaries. So,
and let's not forget how much they have to pay to enter the adult use market.
Yeah. So
I mean,
Fiorello,
that's a hefty sum.
Fiorello's Pharmaceuticals, do we know them? I don't know them. Will open its 4th location in Long Beach, which is Nassau County, which that's significant because Nassau has very few In fact, I don't think it is an adult use. I don't think you can have adult use in Nassau. I think
Hmm.
that's true. It's somebody, if somebody in the chat knows that answer for sure, but I'm almost positive Nassau County opted out.
And
So,
as a county opt out, I thought it was townships that could only opt
well,
out
all the towns on
in
Nassau,
Nassau County.
yeah,
Okay.
on Long Island, in Long Island. I don't know how these little prepositions bother me. Sativa Medical will open its fourth location in Ithaca. That's Tompkins County. That's
Now, I
not
don't even know who Fiorello is or that one is. Like, I mean, I know,
Sativa.
yeah, they go under different names and
Yeah,
DBA
that's true.
stuff like
That's
that.
true. They have different DBAs. But what's interesting is, I'm not currently in the city. I'm in this weird place getting from one part of New York State to another where I wind up in two other states. The township's correct, Nikki. Um, so I it dawned on me in our last, maybe not last LinkedIn, but the one before, that I have no
Definitely
idea
not the
where
last one.
I have no idea where the closest medical dispensary is to my location in Manhattan. Um, I know for a while
Interesting.
when I had my medical card, I was going to MedMen of all places, and that's going back 2 years. And I think that was probably the last time they washed the windows because I walked by the other day and I got to say those windows need washing. Um, and there is a botanist near the train in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn. Okay. Kristen says, I'm in Nassau County and the closest dispensary is in Carl Place or Garden City. Okay. I know where that is. There's a choo choo that gets you there. Um,
A choo choo.
a choo, that, I mean, I have a rented car right now, but anytime I need to get somewhere, does the train get there? Okay. Back to the OCM meeting. Approval of RO dispensing and non-dispensing licenses as they relate to the adult use market. The OCM has reviewed and approved the RO's extensive plans. Extensive. That's a powerful, powerful. Four,
Extensive.
one, community impact plans. Two, medical patient prioritization plans. That's a good thing since they are medical dispensaries.
Very
Three,
good.
environmental sustainability plans. I did notice environmental sustainability at Cannabis Capital District Cannabis and Wellness. They had pre-rolls in biodegradable plastic things.
Yeah,
And
that's a big one.
I do enjoy, I'm a big CBG fan. Big plug for CBG. CBG, many people don't even
CBN.
know what CBG is. CBN,
CBC.
CBN. But I love my CBG and a vape, but I am starting to get nervous about my disposable vapes. So we'll talk about that. Let's get through our OCM thing. All right. Damian Fagan presented an overview of OCM's licensing, including providing statistics on the final, aka current proven site control applications. So remember, with this one license window, we really have two deadlines. Isn't that nice? I guess they're catching up, making up for lost time.
Making up.
That's a joke. That's a joke. Frank Falvo, we love CBD too. So within this one license application that opened October 4th, there were two deadlines. The priority deadline, if you had a location, was, may it rest in peace, November 17th, 2023. And then there's another one, December 18th, if you don't have a location, or if you didn't have it then, but now you have it. So by November 17th, we got 1,500 dispensary applications. That seems like an awfully round number.
Yeah, right?
I want to believe it's like 1498 or 1503. 1,500 seems like that's kind of nailing it. 77% of whom were C applicants, social and economic equity applicants. Now remember, and I was at that meeting and they said they didn't say it. They did use the word problem. It's an issue, right? Because we're supposed to have 50-50. So if of the 1,500, we got 77% social and economic equity. Does that mean that if the 50% gets filled up, could that remaining 27% get tossed into the general pile? How does that work?
Yeah, not sure.
Yeah, not sure. 350 micro business applications. Didn't we all think there would be more of those? But I got to tell you, the micro
If they
business,
didn't have
as
if they didn't have a location, they couldn't even apply. So
yeah,
in that first window. So I get that.
and of those 350, 70% were social and economic equity applicants, of which 15% were OCM's cannabis compliance and training mentorship graduates. Okay. Okay. Now, speaking of that, as I left the OCM meeting, it was in that odd, I call it a government mall in Albany, where, it's the Convention Center Plaza, the Empire State
Yeah.
Convention Center Plaza. And they have I got a gorgeous scarf. Did I bring it in? I must have left it in the car. Really a cool place. But then, more importantly, there was a woman-owned coffee and tea shop, and she had some CBG teas, and she had proudly displayed on her wall a certificate from the what do we
The
call it? The
mentorship thing.
cannabis, yeah, the cannabis compliance and training mentorship program. And so she and I chatted it up a bit. I wished her the best of luck. But I think it's so cool that her shop is right there with, like
Yeah.
she and Kathy Hochul could sip tea from time to time. Might
Yeah.
help Kathy Hochul,
Well, CBG might.
Moving on. Okay. Are you ready for this one? We need a drum roll. We got to get a soundtrack and some special effects. Okay, are you ready for this?
Hey, we just figured out this live shit, Paul. Let's not get a little advanced yet, okay?
Okay. All right. OCM, in partnership with the New York State Gaming Commission and KPMG, that's one of the big four accounting firms. So right away, what could go wrong here?
Can't see anything going wrong.
Can't see anything. They have designed a randomized query system
Oh, very nice.
to begin
Randomized query.
application review. And when the time comes, I guess it'll be randomly decided. Selection, little joke there, selection of awardees during the lottery. You can't cough.
Can't.
So they've got their little randomized thing for exactly what I was talking about, which is if we've got all of these C applicants and we can only have 50% C and 50% general, first of all, that kind of, I guess we'll have to wait and see how many general applicants.
Yep.
But let's go back to okay, so of the dispensary locations, 1,500. You and I have a mutual friend who is really, really trying to get her dispensary application. But she's a C applicant, isn't she?
Yes.
Because she can apply as a woman.
She's a she.
So she's a she and a C.
A she and a C. Boom slay.
Boom slay. So that would be 77% of that 1,500. So, doing some not so fast math, that's about 770, I guess. 1,500 of those dispensary applications are for C applicants. I don't know. This is going to be interesting. They're going to need that randomized query, but I got to say, I always get kind of nervous about that. And then, like I say, you bring in the lottery commission or the gaming commission and KPMG. I mean, don't we all remember when a big accounting firm messed up what was it, the Emmys or the Tonys or something? Anyway, that was a long time ago. Moving on. Additionally, since the lifting of this is a little change of subject. Since the lifting of the injunction, OCM has awarded 12 conditional card licenses. Stores have opened this week in Potsdam, Troy, Albany, and hope to soon open in Rochester, Mount Vernon, Brooklyn, the Bronx, the Upper East Side, and Long Island.
Now, I heard that we had a card open up in Buffalo this weekend.
Well, here's the interesting thing about that. Why aren't they? I mean, after this injunction, were I cannabis queen of the state of New York, which that will never happen, right? I would be blowing off the fireworks, man. I would be like, yes, and another dispensary is open, and another, and another. I don't know why they're not like blowing this up.
And Amsterdam too. Thanks for that, Frank. Yeah. I mean, I would be blowing it up because they've been, God, I want to say the F word. They've been flipping it up a little bit, as far as the rollout goes, right? So,
What did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's up. I will say, Pasha and James with Capital District, that was a so-called soft opening. But like the mayor was there, and
OCM was there.
Lavetta Willis from the fund was there, and a lot of OCM people were
was there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pasha's mother was there. I mean, Pasha's mother, right? I mean, they should have set off fireworks. She's a very lovely person.
Right.
Anyway, John Kagia presented a synopsis of the CGS program. It sunsets January 1st, 2024. And he did
Which I don't think is very wise just off the top of my head, but
well,
I think that's a problem.
If you want to convey information to OCM, just email them.
Yeah.
You will get some randomized. I think that's where the randomized query system was developed, because you get some of the most random responses when you email them.
They're trying to get better, Paula.
Well, they can keep trying. I've had a persistent client query that the client had also been emailing, and he finally said, "Do you read anything that I write to you?" Anyway, so in 2024, we will have the cannabis events permit. Now,
very nice.
So they say they will release draft regulations. So we will go through that whole process of draft regulations and comments, and then approval, and the vote. The vote is never very suspenseful, I gotta say. Yeah. By the time they put it for a vote, we pretty much know how it's going to go down. But they say it very carefully. 101 of the CGS program, 101 CGS applications were approved. No, I'm wrong. 101 CGS applications and 60 were approved. So that means 41 did not quite make the cut. 106 licensees actively participated. How many were done in Western New York? Do you know? Not very many.
Not very many, especially not in like proper Western New York. I know of Bison Botanics, and those guys had one in Western New York, but I can't think of others. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Not saying they didn't exist, but I know in Southern Tier they had a couple, but it was not a predominant business focus around here for sure.
Why do you suppose that was?
Limited. We only have 2 card people, or well, technically 3 if you count our dispensary guy. I mean, we have Kintera, Herbal IQ, and then we have, of course, my favorite, Dank 716, are the only cards open in Western New York. Yeah.
Is it getting loud?
Yeah. Tell them to shut up.
Oh, sorry. I'm in a McDonald's, everybody. I'm so sorry. They know not what they do, Right. It was a very empty McDonald's before now.
Right. The bus came in, clearly, Paula, and dumped out.
I guess.
But yeah, so in the essence of time, we should probably speed this up to some of our current issues that we want to discuss. And one of those would be, we need to really promote our friends here at Niagara Community College
Yeah.
for their event coming up the 8th and 9th. And the first day is going to be all culinary experience and at the Culinary Institute. And the second day is going to be all speakers, including those from California, discussing some of the problems they had in California and some of the issues, like to hopefully help New York not make the same mistakes. However, not sure that that's going to have much impact at the end of the day, but I think it will help the public kind of understand some of the challenges that they faced in California. Like it hasn't been all peaches, roses, and cherries there either, you know, and just watching another huge state struggle and then seeing what we're going through, I think kind of puts it in perspective. And you know, one of the cool things by having events like this in Western New York, I mean, it's a really impressive lineup. I mean, we have Andrew D'Angelo, we have Soil King, we have like some really big names coming. I mean, when I looked at the lineup, I was like, whoa, like Melissa did a great job pulling some of these people from other places. So I think that's a real plus. And I think where we're going as a state, it's not going to be perfect overnight. It's going to improve with time. But all of us need to use our voices. All of us need to put our thoughts out there. You know, we don't all have to disagree and play kumbaya all the time, but we can agree to disagree and we can work together for the greater good. And I guess that's what I want to see more than diversion. I want to see collaboration. I want to see collaboration between multiple groups. I mean, we have the normal group, we have the Americans for Safe Access group, we have the, you know, the Latinos for cannabis, we have the minorities for cannabis, we have the retail card license holder group, Cannabis Retail Association. We have all these different groups. And instead of creating our own islands, we all need to collaborate and work together because our voices together are so much stronger than they are just Nikki Lawley and Paula Collins going off on a tangent about something. We need to work so that we can be part of the collective change, in my opinion. Thoughts on that?
Totally agree. And can you hear me okay? Suddenly it is a gaggle of people. Yeah, I agree with Kristen. Amen. Very well said. And I think that,
I mean, it's not medical versus adult use. It's not adult use is the bad guy and the medicals are the saints, you know, together or the other way around. You know, we're all trying to get product to the people. And that's the most important thing.
and one of the main reasons we wanted to regulate was to enhance access to
Correct.
reliable products. And so,
Correct. I
yeah,
mean, because like we only have 38 medical dispensaries in the state, 38 medical dispensaries for 123,000 medical patients. That's not a really good ratio. I mean, we have a really bad ratio when you really think about it.
20
And
million people. I mean, yeah,
right,
you know,
right, right. I mean, I think that's like 1,700 patients per one dispensary or something. It's like, it's a lot, you know, and I don't know. I just feel like we need to do a better job, and education is where it starts, and collaboration is where it continues.
totally. And I think
That was a
I
good one.
really, yeah, I try to find, it was good. I try to find, I try to fix my sights on what do I want to see with this industry in a year or in 3 years or in 5 years. And it's not just, you know, I am a tax attorney. It's not just the tax revenues. I love walking into the shops and seeing all the different products. I
I do
can't wait.
too. That's where it's at.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what we're going to see in different regions of the state. As although, you know, I gotta say that the farmers are really hustling. I'm working with a farmer right now. I'm amazed at the effort that he has to put into, you know, first of all, get the relationship going, um, get all the paperwork and the legal work set up, and then get the products there. It's a
It's a
lot.
lot. And then like we're throwing in this whole dispensary license in the middle of it all, or not dispensary, sorry, distributor license in the middle of it all. And that's going to be a huge figure it out as we go along. Like I personally, Frank Falvo and I created this like pseudo business plan that we were going to be sort of like the marketing arm for the small farmers. We were going to take on like 10 or 20 small farmers and then build the relationships with the adult use dispensaries and get those small farmers be able to share their story, be able to share their vision, and really place these products. And I was told that I can't do that, that it has to be a distributor license that has to do that. I was devastated because I felt like, why do I have to touch the plant to be able to market the plant? In any other industry, you have reps. You have reps that don't touch their products, they just sell their products. And I felt that it was a really good business model. Unfortunately, it is not allowed in New York State. I was devastated. So now these small farmers are going to be almost pitted against each other, and it's going to be based on profits, not necessarily quality. It's going to be certain, and I don't know how they're going to segment. If you're in Western New York, you have to go through said distributor, and how all that's going to work. I don't think they know yet. It's all just fuzz right now, and that's going to reduce the margin for the dispensary and for the farmer, because you got to pay the distributor now. You have to pay the distributor to deliver it, to market it, to bring it to the dispensary, to take it from the farm. That's like a lot of logistics that right now those small farmers are doing themselves. Mike from House of Saki shared with me. He literally starts at one end of the state and goes to the other end of the state, delivering his products and getting them on the shelves. And that's a lot of work. He doesn't even have a salesperson to do that. But now, so I believe if you're a farmer, you can actually do farming and distribution, but I don't think everybody's doing that. And again, I am not the legal eagle expert on this, and I'm not proclaiming to be. So please take anything I say with that in mind. This is just my understanding and my perspective. And yes,
Yeah,
the distributors.
Dr. Ruth just said that gives the distributors a huge amount of power. Well, what's interesting is if you look at the pharmaceutical industry, there are reps that
Yes.
go from the pharmaceutical
And that's
to
what
the
Frank and I
physicians.
were exactly creating, like a drug rep model, sort of. And I
Well,
was told we can't do that.
more shall be revealed. I mean, I gotta say, 3 years ago, nobody really knew what a cannabis lounge license was going to look like, or how would the cannabis lounges work. And now in almost every state, it's being talked about, if not implemented. Did you get to go to one in Vegas?
I did not. I had my own cannabis friendly lounge in my room, quite honestly. I was at the Cosmo, so the balcony worked just fine for me. I did go to several different
Here.
events and private events that did have consumption on site, so that was great. More dabbing than smoking. And I say this as loud as I can. If you don't get a good indoor air quality system, I don't understand how you're going to have a consumption lounge with smoking. And my background formerly is HVAC. So I'm the indoor air quality queen 20 years ago. I knew all about filters, and that was what I did. I designed HVAC systems for filtration and indoor air quality. And I've told everyone, whoever is thinking of a lounge, make sure your indoor air quality is beyond what is expected, because no one wants to walk into a lounge or an environment where it smells like old stinky feet. And some people love the smell of cannabis, other people hate the smell of cannabis. Just like some people don't mind the smell of cigarettes, others absolutely hate it. And so we have to be cognizant of things like that. When you walk in the Cosmopolitan Hotel, you do not smell cigarettes or cigars or anything. Their ventilation system, I'm sure, costs bazillions of dollars, but is done right. And so whoever that engineer was and architect that designed that, kudos to them. And we should all be trying to mirror that for our consumption lounges when that bill comes out.
Which kind of gives us an opportunity for a plug for is it a Western New York dispensary? Just Breathe. Isn't that Western New York? Where's
Just I think is Binghamton.
Oh, close, not quite.
We
should know that. I was close today, but now I've driven. Now I'm in Pennsylvania because I'm going from one part of New York to another, and I'm in Pennsylvania. So I'm glad that everybody was here with us.
Thank you guys. We really appreciate the support, and we hope that you'll join us every single week for the Western New York Rapport with Nikki and Paula, because we're here to just share our thoughts and help normalize the conversation and help remove the stigma at the end of the day. That's all we're trying to do, guys. Create an open dialogue where everyone feels safe and lets their voice be heard.
And you can join us live and in person January 8th and 9th, 2024.
Or
at Niagara Community College.
Yes, you can.
But you can take a plane, a train, or a car. Yeah, we will be here next week.
Yeah, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, Paula. We're going to be here next week on the 17th, I think that is, if I do my math right, 10th to the 17th. And we will be there for, support. If you guys want to send private messages to us and you want to talk about a certain specific topic, we're ultimately going to have guests in here now that we've got this twofer figured out. We're going to try and engage other people with us. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show and provide your insights, please feel free to reach out to Nikki or Paula on any form of social media, because we want to be there for you. We ask that you follow us on social media. Both Paula and I are pretty much everywhere under our real names. We don't have any fake names. Or our business name. Mine is Nikki and the Plant. Paula's is
Law Office of Paula Collins. But
Law
that's
Office
my name.
Of Paula Collins. Very nice. Very nice. So, guys, thank you so much. And I hope you got something out of this live stream. And I'm so grateful for technology working. And we will see you next week.